Hey everybody, KC here. So there are two stories on Morning Newsbeat today that I really want to draw your attention to because they're about companies that are in segments that certainly over the last 8 to 10 months have been seen as being incredibly troubled, and yet these companies seem to be doing better than anyone expected. The segments are the department store segment and the bookstore segment, and the companies are Nordstrom and Barnes & Noble. And in the case of Nordstrom, the story is in Forbes and basically looking at how Nordstrom has responded by becoming much more focused on things like curbside pickup, much more focused on things like convenience, and really making the transition to being a majority digital company. That was underway anyway. Certainly the coronavirus, the pandemic has accelerated that. And what's happened is that, they seem to be having a better time than most people would have expected. Listen, I think this raises lots of questions. For example, if they're going to be a majority digital company going forward, even when the pandemic is over, and I suspect they will, does that mean they're going to need a lot fewer of those big department stores and a lot more of the Nordstrom local concept? I suspect the answer to that may be yes, and they've certainly got to be looking at that as a possibility. In the case of Barnes & Noble, the story's in the Wall Street Journal, and it's talking a lot about how Barnes & Noble has embraced the notion of local management, putting far more control in terms of selection, in terms of management, in the hands of local managers. And basically what they're seeing is local managers can make the stores more successful by being more reactive to local taste, being able to take advantage of local authors, and really paying attention to what people in their communities want, basically becoming neighborhood bookstores, even though they're part of a much bigger chain. And it's funny, when I was reading this, I was thinking about Glenn Turbeek, who used to talk about the supermarket industry, 20, 25 years ago, and used to say that if you had an 800 store chain, it in the long run would be a lot more successful if it operated as 100 pods of 8 as opposed to one pod of 800. There might be some inefficiencies in there somewhere, but in the end, they would be much better positioned to take advantage of what local people needed. He was recommending that then. I suspect he would recommend the same thing now, that decentralized management that really empowers store managers and even department managers within those stores to respond to what people want. In the long run, is going to be a lot more successful. Anyway, two stories that are appearing on Morning Newsbeat, but I wanted to focus you a little bit more on them today. Neither one is in the supermarket business, which is what we focus on more often than not here on Morning Newsbeat, but I think they both teach relevant lessons. Anyway, that is what is on my mind this morning, and as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.